And welcome to episode 2 of 5 Seasons of Truth. And this week we have Pearl Valor, who's going to speak with us and share some insight into her experience and some advice as well. So welcome, Pearl.
Thank you. Kia ora. My name is Pearl and I'm a Gloriavale leaver and advocate and a mum of 5 children.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great to have you here. And we kind of crossed paths at Decult last year as speakers, unaware that we had a sort of a connection around our leavings of very similar groups. So I hope now that we've become familiar with each other and who we are, I hope over time we can sort of start to explore possibly the connections we have, similarities between the 2x2s and Gloriavale, which I find quite interesting. So we're going to kick off with the first question, which is what were some of the challenges you faced during the process of getting integrated back into a completely foreign community when you essentially had to start a new life?
I think the biggest one is making friends, especially when you're an adult. And how I navigated that was putting my kids into a public school, as I initially thought I was going to homeschool, but I wanted them to make friends and have connections because our whole world changed overnight. We left Gloriavale and we lost grandparents, aunties, uncles, friends. And so it was like the best way to do that was start at the public school, and then they're meeting people. They get invited to birthday parties, and then I'm meeting parents. So making friends is quite hard because you have to put yourself out there. And when you've learnt survival skills, it's quite different to like just living and thriving and enjoying life.
Yeah, I completely get that. Kind of relatable, but also not in the sense that, your whole community and every relationship you had was based around, I guess, your faith and your family. So outside of that, those skills of socializing, and we all know making friends as adults is quite a hard thing anyway, but also having not even had that experience, I can understand that must have been pretty difficult.
Yeah, I feel like I was very lucky because I had met Renee at a concert and we had that connection, but I moved to South Canterbury and she's in Christchurch, so we are friends, and I'm really lucky to have her as like a home base almost, and I can ask her anything and everything, and she doesn't treat my life like a joke or to have a laugh. She takes everything very seriously and just gives me good, wholesome advice. So I'm very lucky to have that base, which I feel like if I didn't have that connection with her, it would be very difficult and very lonely.
That's really cool to find. I know it's such a cheesy saying, but, when you find your people, right? And, you were brought up being told that you were with your people, and then to find out there's actually a whole new set of people that actually you can relate to better. And so that's really, really cool. And I think that's awesome advice for anyone. So that's really, really cool. The Gloriavale Trust is an awesome charity that helps transition leavers into new homes, communities, and those ladies and men in there are awesome. Can you explain all the great things they did for you?
Yeah, so basically they helped us land. So they helped with securing housing, finding a rental, and then you leave Gloriavale with nothing because you don't own anything. You don't own your furniture. You don't own the clothes you wear. So you leave with nothing. So they stock the house with groceries and furniture, and then they will provide information packages on schooling, doctors, dentists, just all life admin that people out here would grow up learning. We sort of have it all dumped on us at once.
Yeah, again, you take that stuff for granted, what we consider finding a rental, finding furniture is just part of what you do. And I guess it'll be hard for people to understand the concept that you've never done that before or wouldn't know how to do it. And I'm not meaning that in a mean way. You
Yeah.
know, when we need something, we go find it, and to not even have that experience, it just means that groups like that are just invaluable, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And also they help a lot with driver's license, because a lot of women that leave the Gloriavale community, we didn't used to be allowed to drive. That's changed now, but they've helped a lot of women navigate that, and that, increases our freedom.
Yeah. It's, I guess it stunts your growth, right? In terms
Yeah,
of not only knowing how to do things,
yeah,
but
exactly.
believing that you can actually do things like drive a car. Was it crazy to see females driving cars when you got, like, was that something you're like, whoa, this is absurd?
No, not for me, because my mum could drive in the community. She had learnt before she joined, and so there were a few women drivers, and my mum was one of them.
There we
And
go.
she would always encourage us that we would want to drive one day, but it wasn't even in the cards when I was young. And it wasn't till I was married and had baby number 4 that I was allowed to learn to drive. Yeah.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was pretty cool being able to do that. But, yeah, it wasn't like we knew women could drive outside the community, but for us, it was just, yeah, not for us.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that perception's changed. That's really cool. I guess it kind of leads on to the next point was, okay, so living, I mean, I think most people, you know, because of the awareness and stuff that's out there and people like yourself talking, and the media portrayal, which is also important,
Yeah.
that living and growing up within Gloriavale definitely shelters you from experiences, even items and things that the world considers normal. Was there anything in particular you never sort of knew existed, but when you experienced it was like completely, I guess, blowing your mind to like, what is this thing? Or yeah.
Nothing really jumps to mind, but it could be just little things like, there's like echoes of society that reach, within the closed Gloriavale community, but you don't really understand or know the whole picture. So, like going to a music festival or a concert, like that's pretty cool experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's well, myself also, um, even within the two by twos. I mean, I had a very liberal upbringing to experience those sorts of things, but how those experiences connect people, and I love the fact you bring up concerts and that, because that's a thing for me. You're with complete strangers, yet music and creativity and
Mhm.
art can bring people together, and you can spend 3, 4, 5 hours with people you've never met before, and you feel like you've known them for years and they're your best mates. So I think that is so cool that you mentioned going to festivals and gigs, because personally I feel like it's a real vibe
Yeah.
where, yeah, to come out of there and experience that, like for me, like I think that's so cool. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Definitely missed out on that.
Well, I hope you're playing catch up now and making up for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying.
Excellent. How can, I guess this is a good point, and as advocates ourselves, we're wanting to support not only those that have left, but hoping we can support those that are still in through their, if they choose to deconstruct and move away. But how can we or anybody in the public help people who have left high control groups and environments? And what are some of the awesome things that people have done for you?
That's a really good question. So for me, I have had a lot of opportunities to meet with people within my advocacy, and then they've connected me and offered me resources, which has been invaluable. Like,
Yeah,
I've met friends and they've connected me with another friend that has provided this resource, because when we leave these communities, we have nothing. We have no connections, no resources. And so that's been really incredible. And then just being kind. I think kindness goes a long way, because we're taught that you're the enemy, you hate us. So when you use us as a joke, that reinforces that belief. And I feel like so many people have just been kind, and that just gives you the courage to just take the next little step.
Yeah, that's really important, and I'm glad that people have been kind. I guess in our experience, my experience also coming out of a group very similar is totally relatable, in that you're taught people not in these groups aren't going to be kind to you. In fact, they'll do the opposite to you. And I mean, that's that indoctrination and control. So the fact, and I mean, what an experience when these people are kind to you. One of the 2x2 leaders mentioned on Cult Chat this week around love, and that love is an action. And I think that's really important, that it is and kindness is the same. It's a complete, like, it's an action. When that's shown to you, it drops that feeling ostracized away.
Yeah. Because you can feel like an alien coming into this new world, everything's different. And when you're treated like that, that reinforces that. So, yeah, that's really nice when people are just kind. Because we've been dehumanized as well in the community, like the clothes we wear, even the sports we play. In Gloriavale, we play American sports. So everything is like, so it's to like cut the connection. Even our schooling system is American. We have grades, not classes. Everything is just to, I guess, cut connection with society. So we're speaking a different language.
Man, that's interesting. Yeah, I never knew that. American. That's okay.
We play basketball, baseball. We do play a little bit of netball and soccer, but no netball. There were a few women that had joined the community that knew, but I remember them being told they weren't allowed to teach us netball. So
which is a
quite
very New Zealand sport.
Yeah, it's very intentional, I think. And yeah, rugby was not okay either. Like, for some reason, that was connected to something satanic. I don't really know how.
There's always a reason for it, isn't there? There's always be a reason or a Bible verse that'll get pulled out and to twist around to make to make something seem completely opposite to what it is.
I think it was to do with the Colosseum, like the Roman Colosseum games, and they were saying that because we even use, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we don't use those names. We don't use names of the months, like January. It's all like 1, 2, 3, 4, because they're from the Roman gods too. So there's a lot of this history that's been like demonized.
Wow, that's fascinating, and I hope we can have more talks around, because this is I'm learning stuff as I've followed a lot of the Gloriavale stuff, because there's links between the 2x2s. I mean, that sort of stuff is fascinating, and I'm always interested in the reasoning behind it, because we were also told ridiculous things, and quite often there was no real reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
Or a reason that would change from week to week, from year to year. So I'm hoping over time we can delve into the similarities and things between the two groups, because I think, very fascinating. But I like the fact that you felt kindness from, because it's pretty scary, because, you don't know how people are going to treat you when you leave these groups, and there's always that joke factor. And you guys more so than ever spent a lot of time on TV and the media. So it could go pear-shaped. So I'm glad kindness has been shown to you.
Yep.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
last question, very simple. What do you love about life now?
I think the thing I like about life now is choices, and the choices that are mine, because I felt like I was living a life that wasn't my own. And so now the choices I make for me, and they make me feel like me. And even if they're bad, they're mine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, can just be like little everyday choices that people would take for granted. Just having a coffee in the morning. Yeah, just little things that make you happy or bring joy to your life that you can create.
Yeah, that's really cool. And it is I'm so glad you said just having a coffee in the morning. It is the little things, because life isn't as complex as it's made out to be when you're within those groups. It's actually real simple. As you say, a
Mm,
coffee in the morning, going for a walk down the street, mowing the lawns. And again, we're talking about things that everybody else does. So when you strip it back to its roots,
mm,
it's about making a choice to have a coffee in the morning, making a choice to go wash your car, making a choice to sit in the garden, and it makes you happy.
yeah, read a book, do some art, play a game, and you can create joy.
And
Yeah.
for people that are possibly listening to this going, what are you talking about? What we're saying is a lot of those things were unavailable, or if you made that choice to do them, you were frowned upon, right?
Yeah. So I think the joy that you have in these communities isn't real joy. It comes back to obedience and doing what you're told, and it's supposed to work. Like, if you do all these things, you will have peace with God, real joy, and it's not about here and now, it's about eternal life. So all these little things that people do to make up their lives out here that are so normal, we are not allowed to do, because they're considered feeding your flesh. So there's, and we have to crucify our flesh. So yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I can see that. I completely understand it as someone coming from a very similar group. The
Yeah.
joy comes later, right? It's
Mm.
being not good enough now and doing away with all those things and making your life pretty boring and insufferable,
Mm.
because later on you're going to get the joy.
Yeah.
But at the moment, you're unwilling, you're unworthy, you're unclean, you're all, yeah. I mean, all this terminology you're using, totally, I can I can relate to 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. The I think that it's hard to explain to people that don't know the terminology, but we're not actually seen as people. We're seen as souls that need saving from when we're little babies. So all these little things that might make us happy or bring us joy are just irrelevant, because we're a soul inside a body that needs saving. And it's about this eternal life, and it's got nothing to do with right here, right now.
Yeah, awesome, very relatable. And I'm hoping, yeah, we'll chat again. I'd love to break this down and do the comparisons between not only the group that
Yeah.
I was part of, but the basis of all these types of high control groups all focus around that. So yeah, this could be a little taster for for what we can do later. Like, there's so much to explore.
Yeah.
I just want to end with, if you do, just one final piece of advice or a statement that you'd like to put out there, pass on to people listening and watching.
I think one thing when you leave these communities and groups is that you don't really have your own identity, and you're not really aware of who you are, and reconnecting with anything you're interested in, what you're curious about. It all leads you back to yourself. You read what you want to read, you listen to the music you want to listen to, and it all connects you back to these pieces of yourself that you've put aside because they weren't acceptable in the group. And it's been just a journey back to myself and who I was, and it's been like really incredible just following these little curiosities.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Again, totally relatable stuff, and others listening will relate to that. It's getting your identity for yourself, but it's also taking that journey to get there. It might mean making some mistakes and finding out things you're not interested in, but it's all part of the learning. But the main thing is you get to choose, right? Whether it's, if it falls apart, that's your choice. If it doesn't fall apart, it's still your. But I think the choice, as you say, is the thing you want. So that's really cool.
And mistakes aren't bad, and they're not a sin. It's just how you learn.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I appreciate your time, Pearl. Thank you. And as I say, I'm sure we can break down so much of this stuff again, because it's cool to speak with people who can relate to some of the stuff that overlaps within the sort of groups that we were born and raised in. So thank you.
Yep. Thanks for having me, Tristan.
No worries.
Ka kite.